What do you do when your gut tells you something's not right, but the reports say everything's fine? That question had been knocking around in Warren Callahan's head for weeks. 13 warehouses. That's what his father had built from the ground up before passing the torch. Warren had inherited the company 3 years ago. He'd grown it, doubled the online orders, streamlined distribution. On paper, things looked great. But lately, some late deliveries and a few quiet complaints about crushed packages had made him uneasy. The warehouse in Riverside had the cleanest reports of all. Perfect numbers. But Warren didn't trust perfect. He decided to go in himself, not as the CEO, but as a new hire. The Riverside staff had never met him. It was a corporate location, and most of the employees had been hired long after his father's time. Warren was always in the city office, never on site. He shaved his beard, dyed his hair darker, and wore old boots and a company-issued vest with the name tag Wayne. A friend in HR helped slide his name onto the roster as a temp worker through a staffing agency. It was airtight. Monday morning, he showed up at 6:30 sharp. The warehouse buzzed with forklifts, conveyor belts, and music blaring from someone's speaker. Inside, it was hot and smelled like cardboard and sweat. "New guy?" a woman asked, walking over with a clipboard. She was in her mid-30s, sharp-eyed, and fast-talking. "I'm Gracie Collins, floor lead. You're unpacking. Follow me." Gracie was efficient. She showed him how to scan, box, tape, and label orders. She didn't waste time. Warren liked that. The morning flew by, and Warren stayed quiet, watching. Workers moved fast. Some joked around, some barely spoke. But what caught his eye was a tall guy named Colby, who kept glancing at the clock and rushing through orders like he was in a race. At break, Warren sat on a bench with a guy named Devin Younger, maybe 22, kind face, quiet voice. "You been here long?" Warren asked. 7 months, Devin said, sipping a water bottle. "It's all right. Just gotta keep up." Warren nodded. Gracie seemed solid. "She is," Devin said. "Don't let her catch you slacking. But it's the supervisor you gotta watch." "Who's that?" "Doug. He's not here yet." "Does afternoon shift." Warren caught the tone in Devin's voice. "What's the deal with him?" Devin hesitated. "He's just intense." The second half of the shift, Warren kept working. By noon, his back ached. He hadn't lifted this much weight in years. He mistaped a box, had to redo it. Gracie caught it, nodded approvingly when he fixed it. "Good eye," she said. Then, around 2, the atmosphere shifted. A man in a black polo and cargo pants walked in. Bald, muscular, eyes like glass. "That's Doug," Devin whispered. Doug didn't smile. He walked the floor like he owned it. People moved faster when he passed. Warren felt at the pressure. He kept packing. 15 minutes in, Doug called out, "All hands pick it up. We're behind. No more triple checking. You see the item, you pack it. Don't waste time." Warren blinked. One of the workers, a woman named Tasha, raised her hand. "Doug, we're supposed to scan and confirm before sealing." Doug turned to her. "And I'm telling you not today. We're overstocked and orders are piled. We ship fast. We catch up. You want to stay, you follow." Tasha looked down and said nothing. Warren's stomach turned. He looked at the order in his hand, a set of glass jars. The invoice said fragile. He double-checked the scan. It didn't match. Wrong item. He paused. "You deaf." Doug barked across the floor. "I said skip the checks." Warren locked eyes with him. "That's how mistakes happen." Doug walked over. "You're new, right?" "Yeah." "Then shut up and pack." Warren's jaw tightened. He looked at Devin, who silently shook his head. "Don't argue." Warren packed the correct item anyway. "Slower. Deliberate." Doug scoffed and walked off. The rest of the shift dragged. Workers skipped scans. Warren saw 3 wrong items go into boxes. He caught one, a backpack labeled as a laptop sleeve. At the end of the day, He helped clean up. Gracie came by. You did good today, Wayne. Come back tomorrow. Warren nodded, but his mind was racing. Back in his car, he sat in silence. He couldn't ignore what he'd seen. Orders shipped wrong. Fragile items tossed. People afraid to speak up. Doug wasn't just cutting corners, he was leading others to do the same. And Warren, the one who owned this place, had to figure out how deep it went. And what it was going to cost to fix it. The second day started before sunrise. Warren pulled into the cracked lot behind the warehouse and sat in his car for a moment, watching workers trickle in through the side entrance. No one looked rested. The kind of fatigue that showed in how feet dragged, not in how eyes blinked. He walked in through the employee door just before 6. The interior was colder today, air conditioning humming through the vents, but still dry. A few people nodded to him. Nobody asked questions. That was the culture here. Head down, do the job, don't get noticed. Gracie wasn't on the floor yet. A different lead, short, wiry, with a bandage on his forearm, was assigning packing stations. Warren got placed next to a girl who couldn't have been more than 20. She had earbuds in and didn't speak. First hour passed steady. Orders flowed through the system, mostly bulk pantry items and cleaning supplies. Warren noticed the scan guns were glitching. Twice, his scanner froze mid-scan, forcing him to restart it. When he raised a hand to ask for help, the floor lead glanced over, but didn't come. The girl next to him noticed and finally spoke. They never replaced those. I've had the same one for 8 months. Warren looked at her. Don't they slow you down? She shrugged. Doesn't matter. They still want the same numbers. He wanted to ask more, but a loud voice cut across the floor. Pack time is lagging. Yellow zone is behind by 3 minutes. Fix it. Doug had arrived. Warren didn't turn, but he heard the change in rhythm, workers speeding up, fewer pauses, tape guns flying. He stayed focused, determined to do it right. If the scanner lagged, he waited. A minute later, Doug's boots stopped behind him. You're the guy from yesterday. Wayne, right? Warren kept sealing the box. Yeah. You're on the slow end again. The scanner's freezing. Doug leaned close. You're not paid to make excuses. You're paid to move product. I'm not sealing boxes with the wrong stuff in them. Doug stood silent for a beat. That how it's gonna be? Warren looked up. That's how it should be. Doug didn't respond. He walked off. The girl next to him whispered, He's gonna be on you now. I can handle it. She didn't look convinced. By lunch, Warren had seen at least 5 boxes packed wrong. He discreetly flagged 2 by slipping a sticky note under the flap, wrong item, and left them on the recheck pallet. It was a risk, but he wasn't going to let them get shipped. He ate outside at the loading dock, sitting on a rolled-up pallet wrap. Devin spotted him and joined. You sure you want to keep talking to me? Warren asked. Devin cracked a dry smile. If Doug's gonna come after you, he'll come no matter who you sit with. You ever report him? Devin shook his head. To who? Gracie? She's not his boss. And the people upstairs? They don't care unless something explodes. What about HR? HR's in another state. And Doug knows how to play the numbers. If people quit, he just says they couldn't keep up. He's never short-staffed because he burns through temps. Warren leaned back. How many people cycle through here? Too many. I've seen guys leave before lunch on their first day. That afternoon, Gracie returned. She didn't look well, eyes red, movements stiff. She didn't speak much, just checked stations and updated order boards. Warren caught her eye once. She glanced at Doug, then quickly looked away. The tension on the floor thickened as the afternoon wore on. Doug was on edge. He barked at a worker who dropped a box. He told another to stop wasting tape when they double-sealed something marked fragile. Then came the breaking point. A worker named Luis, maybe in his 50s, was stacking boxes onto a pallet. His left hand shook slightly, nerves or maybe strain. He moved slower than the rest, but every box he packed was perfect, taped clean, labeled right. Warren had been watching him all day. Doug walked over, clapping his hands once. Luis, you're dragging. This isn't retirement. Either keep pace or grab your check. Luis looked up. I'm doing my best. I don't want to damage anything. Doug stepped forward. Your best isn't good enough. Move faster or get out. Warren dropped his tape gun and walked over. That's enough. Doug turned slowly. Excuse me?
You don't talk to people like that. He's doing the job right.
You want to join him out the door? Sure, Warren said. Let's take a walk first. Doug stared at him, eyes narrowing. You think I won't fire you? I think you've got no idea who I am. Doug hesitated. Something shifted in his expression. Not recognition, calculation. I don't care if this is some kind of test, he said. You're a temp. You answer to me. Warren stepped back and spoke loud enough for the nearby workers to hear. My name is Warren Callahan. I own this building. And everything in it. Silence. Then a tape gun clattered to the floor. Gracie walked over slowly. Wait. What? Warren held up his badge. He'd tucked it into his sock before the shift. This isn't a stunt. I've been watching how this place runs. Doug's face turned white. You're done, Warren said. Get your things. You're off the floor. Right now. Doug didn't move. Warren turned to Gracie. Call building security. Have them escort him out. Gracie pulled her phone and stepped away. Doug looked around, saw no backup, and muttered something under his breath before walking to the lockers. No one spoke for a full minute. Then Luis, still holding his tape gun, said softly, Thank you. Warren nodded. I'm not done yet. He turned to the workers watching. I came here because I wanted to see the truth. I've seen enough. He walked back to his station, picked up his box, and finished sealing it. But inside, something was unraveling. This wasn't just about one bad supervisor. It was about how a culture like this had taken root under his watch. And fixing it was going to take more than firing one man. Warren stayed until the end of the shift. He didn't leave after Doug was escorted out. He didn't call a meeting or give a speech. He just kept working quietly, deliberately, because he wasn't ready to talk about what came next until he understood the full picture. One man's removal didn't erase a culture. At 5:40, the last box was sealed. The floor emptied out slowly. Some workers glanced at him, unsure. Others gave small nods. He answered with a look that said, I see you. No more, no less. The break room was nearly empty when he stepped in. Gracie was sitting alone at the metal table near the vending machines, hunched over a tablet. She looked up, startled. I figured you'd be in a car back to wherever you came from, she said. I'll leave when I'm done, Warren said, pulling out a chair. You good to talk? She hesitated, then powered off the tablet and nodded. Her voice was lower now, wearier. You're not what I expected. Usually, guys like you send a memo when they want to fix something. I stopped trusting memos, he said. I want to understand how long things have been off here. Gracie studied the table for a moment. It started getting worse around last December. Orders doubled after the holiday push, but we didn't get more people. Just more pressure. Why didn't anyone flag it? Because Doug met the numbers. That's all corporate looks at, right? Throughput, error rates, output per hour. If he stayed in the green, no one looked closer. Warren leaned back. Why didn't you say anything? I tried. Once. I emailed a regional manager. He told me Doug had seniority and rough edges, but that his performance was unmatched. After that, I stopped trying. I had a mortgage to protect. He nodded slowly. You're not wrong. That's on me. She looked up. So what now? Cameras? Audits? New rules. Tomorrow we pause operations. Full day. Nobody packs a box. Gracie blinked. You're shutting the floor? We'll still pay the team. But I need everyone here. We're holding a town hall in the loading dock. I want to hear from them. All of them. She folded her arms. You serious? Dead serious. And one more thing. What? I'm making you interim site supervisor. She froze. I'm not. I saw you run that floor better in 1 hour than he did all day. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to care. Gracie breathed out slowly. All right.
He stood.
See you here at 7. As he left the building, the thick sky over Riverside had turned gray. A distant rumble of thunder rolled over the hills. Storm coming. Fitting. The next morning, folding chairs were set up in the loading area. Large fans buzzed in the corners. A whiteboard leaned against a pallet stack, and someone had written in dry erase marker, "Let's fix this." Warren stood off to the side as the warehouse team filtered in. Not all at once, they arrived in clusters, uncertain. No uniforms today. Just jeans, hoodies, rain jackets. Real clothes. Faces that looked different without the blinkers of shift work. Devin walked in with his hands in his pockets. Luis nodded quietly and took a seat near the back. Even the girl with the earbuds, her name was Shay, showed up and leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Once everyone was settled, Warren stepped forward. "I'm not here to deliver a speech," he said. "If you're here, it means you've had to work through things I should have seen a long time ago. I didn't. That's on me. But I'm here now. And I'm not leaving until this place is better." Silence. Then a hand went up. It was a man with a narrow build and streaks of gray in his beard. "Name's Marcus. I work intake. You want the truth?" "Yes," Warren said. "Then here it is. Half the scanners barely work. We're expected to process full pallets in minutes. When we fall behind, we get told we're lazy. I've seen people skip lunch just to avoid getting written up." Warren nodded. "Noted. What else?" A woman near the front spoke next. "Shipping labels are printed off-site. We get them late, and when they're wrong, there's no one to call. We just guess." Someone else cut in. "And the air filters? Haven't been changed in years. You can smell the dust when it gets hot." Another voice. "The break room fridge hasn't worked in months. So we eat warm food or nothing at all." Shay stepped forward now. Earbuds gone. "Every week there's a new temp. Nobody trains them. They're just thrown in. Then they mess up and get blamed." The stories came in steady. Not complaints, truths. Small things that added up to a system that quietly failed the people inside it. Warren listened to every word. He didn't take notes. He didn't need to. After 2 hours, the room fell quiet again. "Thank you," he said. "You've given me a roadmap. Now I want to give you some commitments." He walked to the whiteboard and uncapped a marker. "First, scanner systems will be replaced. I've already approved the order. You'll have new units within 10 days. He wrote, "Tech upgrade in progress. Second, we're ending the temp churn. From now on, all new hires get a paid 2-day onboarding. If they're temps, they're shadowed by a full-time lead before they touch product. Hiring overhaul starts Monday. Third, we're installing a direct hotline between this warehouse and corporate HR. Not an email. A real person. You report something, it gets logged and tracked publicly. Accountability, line live in 2 weeks," he turned back. "And finally, Gracie's your new supervisor. She answers to me. Not to anyone in regional. You've got someone here who listens and acts. Use her." He set the marker down. "This is the beginning, not the fix. But it's real. And it's not optional." A few heads nodded. Some still watched carefully. Trust didn't rebuild itself in a day. Later, Warren walked the floor with Gracie and 2 operations managers flown in that morning. They inspected the intake dock, the racking system, even the overlooked maintenance closet. He asked questions. Not broad ones, specific. Who handles the refill station? How long does a label reprint take? Where does the emergency shutoff report to? At one point, they passed Devin reloading a bin rack. Warren stopped. "Can I ask you something?" he said. Devin turned. "Sure." Why'd you stay here this long? Devin thought for a second. Because I thought maybe someone upstairs would finally notice. Warren nodded. You were right. He turned to one of the managers. Promote him to trainer. Effective immediately. Devin blinked. Wait, what? You know how to anchor people. That's rare. And we need it. Gracie smiled faintly, but didn't say anything. By the end of the day, a contract team had already started inspecting the HVAC system. 2 broken scanner stations were tagged for replacement, and a tech rep from the equipment supplier was scheduled to arrive by end of week. Warren didn't stay in a hotel that night. He slept in a cot in the small office above the loading zone, the same one where Doug used to hold pre-shift meetings. It wasn't about symbolism. It was about presence. This wasn't over. But for the first time, it had truly begun. By the end of the second week, the floor didn't feel the same. Operations hadn't returned to full capacity yet. The shipping backlog was still being worked through, and a few orders were going out slower than usual. But no one rushed to cover it up. They owned it. And that shift, the willingness to face the truth head-on, felt heavier than any box Warren had packed himself. He spent most days on site now, not in the office upstairs but down on the floor, in steel-toe boots and a plain vest. He didn't hover or give speeches. He asked direct questions. How's the new scanner working?
What's still not right?
What do you need from me? And people answered, not with rehearsed updates, but with specifics. We still need a second label printer near Zone 4. The new air filters helped, but the fans near the west dock don't push far enough. The onboarding materials are better, but the videos don't show what packing actually looks like. They need to be filmed here, not at the demo site. Every note was taken. Everyone had a follow-up. The biggest shift wasn't in what the workers were doing, it was in how they moved. Less glancing over shoulders. More checking each other's work. Less tape guns snapping in panic. More collaboration when something jammed or a bin was misrouted. But the past hadn't vanished. It remained in the way some workers still hesitated before speaking up. Like they were waiting for the old system to return. On a Tuesday morning, Warren watched Luis kneel to fix a toppled box cart near the intake dock. 2 new hires standing nearby didn't move to help. They just watched. Luis said nothing, lifting the edge of the cart with slow, strained effort. Warren walked over and helped steady it. You shouldn't be doing that alone, he said. Luis stood and wiped his palms on his pants. Habit. Warren looked at the 2 younger employees. You see someone struggling, you help. That's not optional. They nodded, one of them mumbling an apology. After they walked off, Luis gave a quiet laugh. They're not used to anyone watching out for us, he said. They're going to have to get used to it, Warren replied. That afternoon, Gracie met with him in the back office. She'd taken to keeping a whiteboard of open issues on the wall, small things that didn't require budget approvals but needed attention.
He liked that.
It was clear, accountable, and visible to anyone who walked in. 2 things we need to talk about, she said, tapping the board. First, Colby. You've probably seen him rushing orders again. I have, Warren said. He's not skipping checks anymore, but he's still cutting corners. Boxes packed too tight, fragile stickers missed. I've talked to him twice. He nods, says he gets it, but nothing changes. Warren crossed his arms. Pull him in. Gracie opened the door and signaled to someone outside. Colby walked in, broad-shouldered, jaw set. He sat down without being asked, arms folded. Warren didn't ease into it. Colby, you've been corrected twice. Why are we still seeing careless packing? I'm making rate. At what cost? Colby leaned forward. No one's complaining. My stuff gets out fast. It's not about speed. It's about discipline. Consistency. You think this is still about Doug's way of doing things? Colby didn't answer. You're on final notice, Warren continued. 1 more issue, and you're off the floor. Not as a warning, as a fact. Colby's mouth opened, but nothing came out. He looked at Gracie, then back at Warren. Understood. Good, Warren said. Because if we let this slide, everything we've done here gets undone. Colby left without another word. Gracie exhaled. I was expecting more pushback. He pushed until there were consequences. Now he decides what kind of worker he wants to be. That Friday, a new trainer shadowed Shay through her shift. She'd only been there a few weeks longer than the trainee, but her methodical approach had impressed Gracie. She didn't say much, but her scans were always clean, and she never left a mistake behind. At lunch, Warren found her outside, eating alone by the loading door. "You're training now," he said. She nodded. "Didn't think I'd be asked. We noticed how you work." She blinked slowly. "I'm not good with people." "You don't have to be. You just have to care." She shrugged, but didn't argue. "You know we're filming the new onboarding videos," Warren said. "We want them to be real. I want you in one." She looked up, surprised. "Me? You show people how to do it right. That's what they need to see." She gave a single nod. "All right." That evening, after the shift ended, Warren stayed behind to meet with the facilities contractor. The fans by the West Dock were being replaced, and a new breakroom fridge had arrived that afternoon. A few workers stuck around to help move it in. One of them, a tall man with a paint-stained hoodie, looked at Warren as they shifted the fridge into place. "Can I ask something?" "Go ahead. You staying around? Or is this just a cleanup tour?" Warren set the fridge down and wiped his hands. "You'll see less of me once the systems are fixed. But I'll be back. Regularly. Not to check on people, to check in with them." The man nodded. "We've had owners talk big before. None of them ever came back." "I will." The next week, survey kiosks were installed near the time clocks. Simple touchscreens where workers could log feedback anonymously. Warren didn't promote them with signs or emails. He just let them sit there. By Wednesday, he saw a sticky note appear on one. "The gloves in Bay 2 are too thin. They tear when lifting glass." He read it. Then he walked to Bay 2 himself and tested a pair. They tore just like the note said. New gloves arrived by Friday. No announcement. No email. But the message was clear. Someone was listening. 3 weeks after the town hall, the order accuracy rate had climbed. Not dramatically, but steadily. Quality checks returned fewer errors. And the recheck pallet, the one that used to overflow, was down to half. On a rainy Thursday, Warren gathered the team once more in the loading zone. No chairs this time. Just a 5-minute huddle before the shift. "You've earned something that matters more than a bonus," he said. "You've earned my trust." He held up a clipboard. "Starting next quarter, this site will be the pilot for a new program. Floor leads and line workers will recommend one operational improvement per month. The best ideas get implemented. And the people who suggest them, they'll lead the rollout." Some heads turned. "We're done pretending good ideas only come from the top." Later, as the crew dispersed, Warren stood with Gracie at the edge of the dock, watching as the first trucks backed in. "You really think this'll stick?" she asked.
It will.
"Because it didn't come from me. It came from fixing what we allowed to break." She nodded once. As the rain started again, Warren took one last walk through the floor, watching the quiet efficiency return.
No scouting. No panic.
Just work, honest, steady work done by people who finally knew they mattered. He didn't need to stay much longer. But he would return, not because things had gone wrong, but because now they were finally going right.